Howdy, howdy. In this video, we're going to go over the types of trading card collectible game buyers and what I see them acting like in trading platforms, Discords, eBays, LGSs. And this is going to specifically come from the Wonders of the First perspective. That's the game that I play. However, I think this really applies to many games. But my personal experience is going to be mostly from Wonders of the First. Now, there are different types of purchasers or buyers of trading card games, and I put them into these 5 categories. Some people use some categories interchangeably. Be a Hero Gaming, Ben at Be a Hero Gaming, often, kind of says collectors are investors and investors are collectors. And I think that's true. I think there is some bleed over. However, a lot of people think flippers are scalpers. And I don't think so. That's my hot take for this video. We'll get into that later. But overall, I believe primarily there are 5 types of buyers. However, when it comes to the game itself, there's really only 3. The other 2, speculators and flippers and scalpers, they really come from outside the game, so I don't consider them part of the game's ecosystem. They're more part of the economy. So we're going to go through in this video the differences between players, collectors, and investors, and also touch on speculators and flippers and scalpers and just kind of where they fit into the TCG buying persona or buying the type of buyer that they are. And if you are still here, thank you. We're going to get to that in a second, but be sure to subscribe. I do multiple Wonders of the First videos every week, sharing what I get in the mail, trades that I make, as well as more information about the game. And also, I like to do general information about trading card games, specifically videos that I wish had existed when I got into playing cards. For example, in the corner, you'll find how to ship trading cards. Would have had a lot better trades when I first started if I had known that information, so you can go watch that. I'll put a link at the end of the video. But thank you guys for watching. Let's get into it. First off, we got the player. Now, this is your baseline majority of purchasers of a trading card game. These folks, and I'm going to break this down based on what they buy, what they do, what they value, as well as the frequency of, how often they touch or think about the game. So what they buy, players are going to be buying packs to play with. They're going to open, they're going to look for packs to play. They're probably going to trade the cards that they're not looking for. They probably are a fan of a certain type of card or a certain type of deck. In Wonders of the First, the specific type of orbital. Or they're going to be looking to buy singles to purchase decks. Maybe they get a lot of cards of one color or one orbital, and they're specifically looking for a few more to fill out a deck. They'll go out and buy those base cards. They're only looking for base cards like paper. In Wonders of the First, you got paper, foil, formless foil. Then you got OCM, which are the orbital color match, which are serialized with numbers. And then you've got stone foil, which are the one-of-ones. And the one-of-ones, they are not functionally different. There's just one of them. They have a special treatment, but it has the same card type. So if you decide you wanted to compete with it, you could technically still play for it, but it's kind of like playing a game with a Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card that's signed by Ken Griffey, even though we don't have autographs. But that would be something like playing with a really rare, valuable card. You don't want that hitting the table. You want that collected. But anyways, they're not chasing those fancy ones, though. They're really just looking for paper cards, plain cardboard. Just, I want to play. What do? They obviously are building decks, and they're playing casually or competitively. These are players all the way from high schoolers playing on the carpet floor of the band room to playing. You can't really play Wonders of the First on the bus, but they're looking at cards on the bus. They're trading, or they could be competitively playing. There's 2 types of players. There's your kitchen table player, and then there's your competitive circuit player. Everything in between. Maybe they do a Wonders night at the LGS if they become so blessed to have an LGS that has maybe like a Wonders Wednesday or a Wonders Thursday competition. We'll want to see more of those in the future, and I hope we do see more of those in the future. But those are where they're mainly going to be. But what they value, players uniquely are going to value fun and competition, or maybe even specifically fun inside of competition. They want to have fun playing the game. They are here to play the game itself. They're going to play at the kitchen table or competitively, and they'll have fun playing the game. But they're going to value the actual pragmatic utility of the game. If the game was just trading cards with just the art, and even with the serialized and collectibles, if there wasn't a game around it, they would not be collecting or they would not be buying cards. So they really appreciate the practicality or the utility of the game. As far as how often they think about the game, they're going to be thinking about it frequently. I think it's really the younger, the more frequent. So if they're in school or they're young and they have that disposable income, they have a lot of friends that are playing the game, they're going to be thinking about it daily. They're going to be thinking about what decks I can make, what can I do with these cards. They're going to be logging on, looking at cardio or other YouTube videos to see where decks are coming from or what the meta is, maybe even. If they're super casual, maybe they're a dad and, like me and my cousin, we get together every once in a while when we play. He's only thinking about it weekly, maybe monthly. We might get into a season of playing, but we're really only looking to play daily or weekly. So those are the players. That is a majority of where the purchases are going to be made from. Those are people that want to play a game and have fun collecting decks and making decks. Now, next is the collector. I think this is a majority of Wonders of the First right now. I think we are expanding our player base. However, based on just purely anecdotal from what I see in the Discord and what I see on eBay, a majority of people are looking to collect the cards, either to collect sets, collect all of one orbital like I did with Existence, collecting all the Umbrathine. You can see my collection in the corner video there. Or they're looking to collect certain cards. Maybe there's someone only collecting dragons, or someone like me who's only collecting firearms, or someone that's collecting vampires, someone that's collecting zombies or undead. Those people are chasing specifically sets. So that's what they buy. They buy foils, right? Because they want to buy the nicer version of something. That includes formless foils. They want to buy serialized cards. Maybe they want one of every of the 400 cards in the Existence set to be a serialized OCM. They may be collecting alt arts, the alternate arts. Maybe they want a full set or a full set of one orbital. Like me, I just finished my Umbrathine orbital alt art set. Or they might do theme sets, we just talk about, like I'm collecting all the firearms in the next set. Now, here's what they do. They could be players, right? So that all the things that we said about players could apply to them, but they probably have a little bit more disposable income, or they have a little bit more bartering capability. They want to look for deals. So they're going to be chasing cards. They're going to be trying to build sets together, put their collection together. Some of the more peak ones are going to be grading cards, and part of the chase might be to have the highest graded card. So for example, our friend Legend from Legendary Breaks, he collects quill cards, and right now he has the highest graded quill, but someone else might be able to get a tag 9 or a PSA 10. I don't know how we're cross grading there, but someone else might get the highest graded quill, and you know what? He's going to start chasing that one. He's going to see what can we do to make a deal so he can get that quill. They're going to be putting together display binders like mine, which is a simple binder from 3-ring binder from Target, or they're going to be putting like a nice zipper top loaded with top loaders inside. And they're going to be organizing. They're going to be, organizing sets together and figuring out how to display. What they value is going to be mainly pride and accomplishment. And that's not a bad version of pride. It's like, look at what I did. I started with a bunch of cards and I traded to get a bunch of specific cards along a theme. But I mean, that really is like, it's a game. It's a game in and of itself. It's a game of how can I find, what cards am I going to put together? What cards do I have? Who's got the cards that they have? What can I put together that is a clear enough offer that overvalues what they have, right? Because that's the whole reason we make trades. I have something that is I don't value as much as something that you have that you don't value. So I value that more. I have this that I value less. Well, you want this that you value more, and you have that you value less. That's literally what capitalism and market trading is, right? So they value chasing that deal, putting those deals together. How much can they get for what they have? And they may also value uniqueness, right? Like I have a unique set of firearm trading cards, or I have all the Umbrathine sets and no one else is collecting just Umbrathine, right? Or I have, for me, my collector, I want to have a 3-signed formless foil prisoner. I've got it signed by the co-founder, Jeff French. I want to get it signed by the game creator, Brian Tinsman, and I want to get it signed by the artist, Ramal Smith, I think Smith. So that will be like the unique thing of the card I have. That will be my big chase, and that's going to be mainly chasing people, but that'll be something that I value. Is I will be the only one to have that, at least as the formless foil prisoner is concerned. And I don't want anyone to get offended, but when it comes to frequency, the collectors are really focused, I see, on seasonal bursts. Again, Wonders of the First is kind of what I have the most experience with in the last year, and it really, a lot of collectors right now, as of September, are getting a little antsy because They've got their sets, they've got the cards that they wanted, and now they're not doing anything. They're if they're not playing the game, they're just sitting around waiting for the next set to come. And then once the next set comes, they're going in, they're investing capital, they're getting cards, they're opening them up, they're chasing the cards they want, they're chasing the sets that they want, they're trading, they're dealing, and they are just, gonna get all the cards that they want, and then they're gonna wait for the next set. So it can be a little bit more seasonal with the collectors, and I don't think that's a bad thing. But if they are blended, you can have a blended player collector. That's what I am. I'm not a collector in that I'm chasing the top cards. I don't need a 1/1 dimensional piercer. I would love to have one, don't get me wrong, but I'm not specifically chasing it. I'm not going out and trading my coil box for a 1/1 thing. Now I am chasing a Formless Foil Nocturna, right? And those are very rare. I've literally only seen one in the wild, and I literally have only known of ever 2 of them. So those are very rare, even though there's supposed to be a dozen out there at least. That is something that I'm chasing for my set, and that's essentially what the collector is. But while I'm collecting, I'm still playing the game. I'm still reading the lore and all that stuff. So I'm still enjoying that one. That is a different category. We could say that there's the type of person that enjoys the lore. However, right now, in my understanding, in many trading card games, there's not a lot of published stuff out there. I know Magic has some stuff. I see some Magic comic books and everything, but that's not really a trading card buyer. They're just invested in the lore. I personally would love to buy some books that are written for the Wonders of the First, and I do buy the Emma Shockham comics from the Shockham publication. But I don't consider that like a TCG buy. So I'm just not considering those right here, right now. All right. So the last piece here is the investor. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, well, investors are collectors. They're investing. They're collecting an investment. I get it. But if my wife collects gold jewelry, right? She loves gold jewelry. She's made a transition from white gold to yellow gold. So now she's quote unquote chasing yellow gold jewelry. That doesn't make her a gold that doesn't make her a gold investor. It makes her a gold collector. She's collecting jewelry. Now, granted, she'll wear it. She'll display it even. But she's not an investor. We wouldn't say she's investing in gold. Same thing if someone goes out and buys bars of gold. They're not a collector of gold. They're investing, right? They're buying that bar of gold for the specific purpose of selling at a higher value in the future. Okay? So investors treat Wonders of the First, the trading cards, more like a commodity. And instead of buying a bar of gold and melting it down to make jewelry, which is kind of what you are doing with a collector, you're buying these cardboard papers and you're putting together a unique set that is something that you enjoy and something that you can display, like jewelry. Investors are buying literal, probably coins or bars of gold, and they're just sitting on it in a safe. And that's kind of how investors I see treat Wonders of the First or any trading card game. They're treating it like a commodity. They're buying sealed boxes. They have no plans of opening it, like they have no plans of making jewelry out of the gold. Okay, they are keeping it in the case. They may care about the game, right? I know a lot of I say a lot, but I know several investors who bought product. They're sitting in the safe. They're sitting in the gun safe even, or they're sitting in the closet. But they do appreciate the game. They know about the game. They know the team. They appreciate what everything's doing. They're keeping up with all the news. They even subscribe to this channel for some reason. But they are not playing. They are not opening their product. That's the same thing as like melting down gold and starting to put out jewelry. Now, could you put together a collection that's worth more than the box it came in? Yes, right? If I buy a box of Wonders of the First collector boosters for $400, and there's a stone foil in it, that stone foil is worth $1,200. That's the same as buying a bar of gold and melting it down to make some really beautiful jewelry, and I can sell the jewelry for more than the price of gold. Like, I get that, right? But that's not what they're doing. They are literally storing, holding, and tracking long-term value. And whenever it gets to a certain point, they will sell for a financial return. So they value the card game as a commodity. Now, does that mean if you don't want to open your sealed boxes, you're an investor? I don't think so. Like, Be a Hero Gaming, he likes to look at the box. He likes to look at the display, and I consider that a collection because he doesn't have the intent of holding it for long term and then selling it. I mean, it really does bring him joy to look at that sealed box, and that's fine. I think that can be a collection. But if you just look at it and you see money instead of a beautiful game of art and gameplay, then yeah, I think you look at it as a commodity and you're looking forward to appreciation and a future return. That's not a bad thing. That's just what investors I see. So how frequently do they think about the game? Well, it could be it could be rarely. In fact, I think for many it's rare because they know it's a long-term play. So they bought cases in March of 2025 and they're holding until March 3035 before they even think about the game or want to sell it or what. But they may also check weekly, monthly to see the activity and engagement around the game. And if they see that prices start falling and they don't have confidence that it's going to come back up, they're going to sell those boxes while they can, while it still has some value to it. So investors, they're the ones that are going to, think about the game the least, I think, for most of the time. There are some that I talk to that are like, yeah, we've got, what's the other one? Sorcery boxes in the back. And we've got MetaZoo Alpha. I don't know all the games out there. MetaZoo version 1 boxes back there. And I'm like, oh, okay. So what's the latest? Like, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. There's just boxes back there. They got games they don't even know what they do. They just saw it on Kickstarter and thought it would go ham and bought a bunch of boxes. So that is the main three here: player, collector, investor. So what's the difference? Players play. They just want paper. They just want to play the game. They don't care about treatments. That doesn't mean they'll never care about treatments, but that's not the primary thing. All right. Collectors will have a collection, and oftentimes some players will have some collectible assets. So like, for example, when I was growing up playing Magic, I like to collect foil swamplands. I think it was swamplands. I like to try to get all the foil swamplands that me and my friends pulled. And I would trade for those just because, I wanted to collect something, and that was pretty cheap for me and my friends and a pretty easy trade to make. Now, did that mean I was a Magic the Gathering collector? No, I was just a player who had a collection. I think everyone is some level of collector, and if you know how to play the game, you're some level of player. But would you identify or define yourself like that is kind of the point of the video. And then some collectors are investors, right? They buy up for their collection, and then if they have extra product, they may seal it away, keep it sealed and stow it away in long term. You know what I'm saying? Like you might bleed over into many different aspects, but you are still you're still primarily one thing, right? All right. Now the two that are outside of the game, we don't consider them players or collectors or investors, and I'm going to put it into two categories here: speculators / flippers, and scalpers. Now, you may say, Tex, what is the difference between an investor and a speculator? An investor is long-term. An investor is a 401k type of investment. And I'm not saying it's not financial advice. I'm not saying replace your 401k or pull out of your 401k for Wonders of the First or any trading card game. Don't do that, okay? But a speculator is like a day trader, right? An investor just wants to keep up with the S&P. And the speculator is looking at, can I buy something today and sell it tomorrow or next week? Right. So a flipper is kind of the same way, but a flipper already knows what something can be valued. And so they'll buy it and flip it. Okay. So for example, I personally, when we were a single income household and we had to put our daughter into pre-K and my wife was already in grad school, I did a side hustle where I would go to garage sales on the weekends and I would find women selling their husband's jeans for like $2 or $3. And they were good jeans, right? I'm not talking about like holy jeans. I'm not even talking about like great jeans like Sunday school jeans, church jeans, okay? But I would find good work jeans because I saw that on eBay, thanks to Gary Vee. People were buying like jeans that they just wanted to wear to work. They wanted to wear to construction jobs. They wanted to wear out on the ranch. They didn't need something fancy. They didn't want to buy new, but also maybe they didn't have any around them or whatever. So I would buy jeans specifically size 34 to 40. Once you get under 34, it's hard to offload those. Once you get over 40, everything starts to fit people different and they would send returns. So I would specifically look for 34 to 40. Now, I knew that jeans, no matter the brand, right? Wranglers could go up to 20, Levi's could go up to 20, but even no name who cares brands, minimum $12. So if I could find jeans at a garage sale for $3, I'd list them on eBay. $5 shipping to put it inside. What was it called? The flat rate shipping. Maybe it was $6. I don't know. But I included shipping in that. So the whole thing was about $20, $21. I consider that flipping, right? I found something that was undervalued. I found something that, these people just wanted to get rid of it. They didn't want to donate it, but they wanted to get a few bucks. So I'd go find these jeans. I'd buy 3 pairs for like $8 or $10. And then I'd sell them total between $30 and $40, right? That was flipping. That's how I made some extra cash to take the family out or to buy Marvel Legendary cards, which was the game I was playing at the time. And I did that, and sometimes I'd take my daughter and she'd have fun with that. So that is a flipper, right? There are good flippers and bad flippers, by the way. I'm talking about good flippers. They go into a house, they know how to fix it up. They fix it up. They can do it on the cheap because they know how to do it, and they don't have to pay for contract labor. They just have to pay for parts, and then they flip it. Or you've got speculators that don't even like want to look at the house. They literally just buy the house note and then sell it off. You can think how you wanted those people, but that's kind of what I'm talking about with TCG traders, speculators, and flippers. They will find collections and try to buy it at the lowest number possible to flip it at the highest number possible. But they're always looking at like undervalued singles. They're looking on eBay for low buy it now prices. They're looking at clearance sections for cards that maybe got slipped in there by employees at big box companies, if there are any there. They're also looking for hype cards. They think, well, this TV show's coming out, so this card, there's an episode around this card character, so they're gonna buy Pokemon, right? Maybe there's a Pokemon show coming out. This Pokemon is a main character in episode 2. So when episode 1 comes out, I'm going to buy that character. And then after episode 2 comes out, if everyone falls in love with it, I'm going to sell it and make $10 on that in a week. And they do that 20 times and make $200, right? So they're looking for that undervalued stuff. Okay. And yes, unfortunately, but honestly, it's a two-way street. They are looking for people that are like, hey, I lost my house in a flood, or I have medical bills, or I'm moving away, unfortunately, I got to get rid of this as fast as possible. Now they are looking to come in there. Some people might say they are looking to swoop in and take advantage of those people. However, I don't think it's taking advantage of people. Okay, I'll get to that in a second, because it is a two-way street. The person that is looking to offload can say no. Okay, and now you may say they're still taking advantage because they should have made an offer that was fair, and that wasn't very fair. Okay, well, it's the marketplace. It's not always the most fair thing ever. Okay, if it really was fair, I won't get into it. But they have every right to say no, and they have every right to ask for a fair price. But at the same time, if they want to sell it for an undervalued position, if they want to sell it for a price that's under market, they have that right to. Okay, let me say that again. They have that right to. All right. So if someone wants to sell it that way, that's fine. That there's no morals in this. There's no good or bad. It's just what is. Okay. So they're going to go and make those offers. Now, if you are afraid of speculators and flippers, don't ever say yes to an offer you don't like. It's a very easy solution. Don't feel pressure. Don't feel anxious. Just, it's all business. In fact, I was reminded that earlier when I had a deal on the table, and I was talking to my mentor, and he said, look, it's not personal. It's just business. If they say no, okay, go find the next deal. Oh, yeah. And I ended up saying no, and then came back and said, okay, well, what do we need to do to get you to say yes? And so I was like, yeah, all right, cool. So it's just trading cards. It's just deals. Don't get too anxious. And I say that a lot. I get anxious that I'm going to offend someone with my offer. You know what? At the end of the day, it's just cardboard and paper, right? It's cardboard, cards, and paper money. And even it might not even be paper money. It might be fake money that you're just transferring from account to account. Is it even real? Some days it doesn't feel like it is. Anyways, so those are speculators and flippers. Now, flippers are mainly looking for like, I see this card and you have it listed for this. I'm going to buy it for this real quick and then go sell it because I know someone really wants it, right? I might even be considered a flipper because I'm looking for a specific card. Someone has a Formless Foil Umberthine card that I want. They're looking for a Formless Foil Scrawl. And so I'm looking for a Formless Foil Scrawl. If I see a Formless Foil Scrawl, that's hard to say 3 times fast, for less than what I would have to pay for a Formless Foil Umberthine that I want, I'm going to buy it and then flip it for the Umberthine. That is going to be a positive, profit, quote unquote, profitable deal for me to make. All right. Same thing if I see someone with a scroll and they're like, oh, I'm just trying to get rid of it. And, I don't want to play this orbital. And I'm like, hey, I'll give you 3 epics for that scroll. Some people would think that that's a bad deal. I think if they think it's fair and they want the 3 epics more than the scroll, let them have it, okay? And then I'm going to take that scroll and trade it for another Formless Foil Mythic. And that's technically a flip, okay? Now, speculators will say, again, like I said, this news is coming out, or I think this is going to change, or maybe when Call of the Stones comes out, they see a card in the background of a video, and they're like, oh, that card's coming out. That's going to synergize really well with this other card that's already out, and it'll make it more valuable. So they're going to go buy as many of those as possible, and then flip it, in a few weeks when Call of the Stones comes out, okay? But they are not scalpers. Here's the main difference between a speculator and a flipper and a scalper, okay? Scalpers will take advantage of market conditions to manipulate it in their favor, or they will just flat out manipulate it in their favor. Okay. When you go to Target and you see empty shelves and there's no product on the shelf, okay, hopefully it was a bunch of kids and parents and grandparents and friends that came in and was like, let me the Pokemon card because we're going to open it and create our collection and all that stuff. Hopefully it's them. However, you and I probably know sometimes there's just dudes that come in and they know, oh, that deck, that pack sells for $50 online right now, and Target's got them for $30. And so I'm going to buy these and immediately flip them. But scalpers will buy out the entire supply. That is what makes a scalper, is manipulating the market, because they are the ones that are going out and buying out all the packs. Okay. Now that's a little bit harder to do. I don't think there's as many scalpers today as there used to be, because the internet kind of democratizes things. And if I can't buy a pack from my Target and the guy buys up the supply and says, hey, you know, it was $30 there, I'll give it to you for $50. Well, I can still get it for $30 online. Okay. So I don't think there's as many scalpers out there as possible, but they are manipulating the market. Okay. It's a little bit harder to do with trading cards because we have such a larger economy. We have such a larger network of people to purchase from. I can call up a store 2 towns over and order cards and they'll ship it to me, or they'll save it for me. It's not quite like in the old days where you could go and buy out the entire supply of, say, Northwest San Antonio by going to all the card shops and buying all the supplies. And now you own the local market and no one can go anywhere because there wasn't any internet back then. Okay. It's not like when, you know, hurricanes come through Texas and people go out and buy out all the water and then they sell the water for an abundance because they bought the supply out. Okay. That is scalping. It is wiping out shelves so you can control supply. All right. That is what scalping is. We have it at our local comic shop. People will go out and buy out Walmart, and when a new Topps whatever comes out, they'll go out and buy Target and buy it out. You know, they'll just go in, buy 2, come out, go in, buy 2, come out, go in, buy 2, come out. Right. And they'll do it in all the stores, and then they'll hit the local comic shops. Right. Thankfully the local comic shops, you know, are a little bit more personable. So, you know, they'll be able to spot those guys. Anyways, they do that so they can lower the supply. And the thing is, they may not doing it coordinating with everyone else across the country, but if enough guys are doing it, okay, if enough people are doing that, buying out supply to flip it, you know, it is kind of a network. What do they call that? Where 2 people are aligned, but they don't realize it. Let me know in the comments. All these people are limiting the supply by wiping out all the shelves. So that's what they're doing. They're trying to manipulate the scarcity for profit. And what do they value? You know, they value a monopoly of control. They don't value the product, okay? This would be like me buying out all the jeans at all the garage sales, at all the Walmart, Target, Western Wear, Boot Town, going out and buying all the jeans. So I can be the only one selling jeans. And you know what? It doesn't take, if I did decide to do that, it doesn't take more than a few dozen people to go do that through a portion of town. So no one around town can get jeans if they need it. Okay. So that's what a scalper is. Okay. They honestly value an empty shelf because they're the ones that emptied it. Okay. How often do they think about the game? They're probably only really thinking about the game during releases, when new sets come out or new prints come out and the shelves are there. They value being at the store when they open. They value knowing when stock day is. And they value, they just value supply. So they can gobble it up and try to flip it for a penny. They value gobbling it up and then flipping it for more because they know they're the only place to get it from. And that's, I think scalping is a less of a thing now, okay, than it used to be, because the internet has democratized things. So that's what I think. Players versus collectors. I think there's a lot of overlap. Collectors and investors, I think there's a lot of overlap. Just because you're a player doesn't mean you can collect. Just because you invest doesn't mean you can play. Sometimes players, collectors, and investors will overlap with flippers if they know what things cost. They see a low value. They see an offer that they can afford, and they know they could flip for a better trade or for a better price deal. You know, sometimes it's just because you know someone. You might find something undervalued, and they can't sell it to who needs it because the who needs it doesn't want to trade with that person, but they'll trade with you. So you make that deal. That's the beauty of trading cards. It is capitalism at its most raw. And I love it. And then scalpers, we don't let them in the circle because they don't They don't. They're just over there on the side. So, which one are you? Are you a player, collector, investor, flipper? Are you somewhere in between? Hey, if you're a scalper and proud of it, at least let us know in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. Again, like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I will see you all in the next video. Adios.